There's one area of policy that has the potential to change the politics of this country and the very fabric of our society. It's housing. If we can make it possible for all Australians to aspire to buy and one day own their own home, we don't just set them up financially. We change the way they think about their role in society, build their connections to civil society and local communities in a way that brings out our instinct to help our neighbour. We encourage the formation of the families we know are the best possible barrier to the big state and its tendency to overreach and tyranny. And all of those things are good for the country, for its economy, for its future security and for the quality of life of those who live in it, whatever their individual interests and goals may be. And in a country like Australia with great size and natural abundance, there's no reason why we shouldn't have it. So it really grieves me to see young people resign themselves to becoming lifelong renters, or short-sighted governments responding to orthodox economic price signals with policies that will just make it worse. Greens and Labor politicians, including Queensland Labor, are flirting with the idea of rent caps being imposed by governments, designed to stop landlords from jacking up prices in big jumps.
The federal government must show leadership and take this over the line. Prime Minister Albanese must initiate and negotiate a national rent freeze.
I completely get that rental price hikes are hard for people who receive them. They are. But the answer is not to impose policies that make investment in rental properties unattractive, because that just means capital will flee from this kind of investment and there will be fewer rental properties available for those who need them most. That means more homelessness, more calls for public housing. Perhaps that's why Labor's federal signature policy is about what they call social housing, the new and less stigmatised term for public housing. But let's break down what that means. In this policy, Labor plans to borrow $10 billion with your name on the loan documents as taxpayer. Then they plan to invest it. And if that investment makes a profit, which I should mention is no sure thing, given the Future Fund last year didn't make a profit, it went backwards by about 2.1%, then the profits, if it makes any, will go to building public housing. This is a policy that quite literally has the potential to build no houses at all. But we also have to ask, is it really the Australian dream to live our days out in public housing? I really don't think that's where we pitch it. I don't think that's the Australian dream. We don't want to be co-owners with government, nor renters from the government for life. It's high time governments woke up and tackled the underlying drivers of high property prices. And that's everything from the drivers of inflation in the cost of construction, which we covered last week, through to land banking and restrictions on the release of land by state governments, overly restrictive environmental laws and NIMBY attitudes to modest increases in density of development in appropriate places. And if we're serious about homegrown population stability and encouraging good citizenship, well, getting action here is urgent.